Innovation, security, programming, technology, development.
Let's begin.
DevSecOps, your cybersecurity and technology podcast.
Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to have all you here again for one more episode of DevSecOps Podcast. Just to remember you that you are on the 5th season already. I think this is the episode number 152, if I'm not mistaken. So 5 years on the road. Please listen to the whole podcast. You have a full package of content here, I would say, for free. Of course, you don't need to pay anything, but if you want, we are accepting payments. Yeah? I'm Cássio Pereira.
I am Ben-Hur.
And today we will be discussing about application security in general, because it's that what we do here on the podcast, of course. But today we have a very nice guest that we'll introduce for you in a minute. Just before the guest, of course, we need to remember that the DevSecOps podcast has the support from Nova 8 and Checkmarks. Also, we have the support from Gold Security and Digital Woke. So don't forget about our partners. Check them out on the website, on the description of this video, of course, on the DevSecOps podcast.com.br as well. So today we have here Chris from Mend, and Chris will be discussing with us. Actually, we'll be asking him because he's a master of the application security. So we have a lot of questions for him. Chris, first of all, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us here today and be able to share some knowledge. Please introduce yourself to the audience. And again, thank you one more time.
Sure. Thank you, Cássio. My name is Chris Lindsey, and my background, I wrote software for over 35 years. I've been in the security field for more than 15, and I ran an application security program for an extremely large enterprise for over 3 years. So there is not much I have not seen.
That's nice. Cool.
Glad to be here.
Cool, Chris. Again, thank you. Ben-Hur, are you missing Marcos or these guys or no? I think we are fine. Only both.
We're fine right now, but Marcos, we miss you, guy.
Marcos is in Brazil right now on vacations, Yeah, so he should be here in Germany because now we have, I would say, not here in Germany because I'm in Poland, but we have sun already, a good weather, but he ran to Brazil anyway, yeah, but it's okay. Okay, cool. Chris, I think the first question I want to make to you, and let's say to introduce the topics of the application security and so on. And our mission is to help developers, help companies to build secure software. Right? That's the whole idea of the DevSecOps podcast. And one thing that always pop up to my mind, always pop up from the audience is like, what to do first? It's requirements, threat modeling, SAST, SCA. It's to don't do anything. Like, what, as you said, you are 35 years writing software and security. So what do you think that should be done first from the companies that they want to start right now onto the AppSec area, let's say?
I mean, that's a fair question, and that's a great question because really you have an ocean, and where do you start? Because you can't boil the ocean, right? And depending on the size of your company and depending on what you're doing, really kind of defines of where you start. Think about, what is your threat model look like? What, do you have external applications or an internal application? That changes a lot of things. And, talking about prioritization, if this was, let's say this was day zero, I just walked into a company and I'm taking it over. Where do I start? Honestly, I need to assess, what is my threat landscape? What do I have? And how knowledgeable are my developers? Because if my developers aren't very knowledgeable, then the problem is it doesn't matter what kind of tooling I have, they're going to just keep introducing more and more vulnerabilities. And so you're sitting there chipping away at the mountain, but you're not going to make any progress unless you start with them. So prioritization, to answer the question, I would start with analyzing where are the developers. Then I would probably do a kind of a 2 or 3 pronged approach. I would start with SCA and dependencies because that's your low hanging fruit. You can easily go in there and just update all your dependencies. It's technical debt. Developers, are like, oh my gosh, security. I don't want to be involved with security. I just want to write my software and do my stuff and get things done. But the reality is the dependencies is just low hanging fruit. That's just ripe for picking. And I would start there. And then I would then probably focus in on SAST, because knowing what your vulnerabilities are with your software and your developers is absolutely key. Because if they're introducing more and more vulnerabilities, you're not going to make any progress.
Cool. I would say that I agree also with this approach of okay, let me clean up my dependencies because we know it's a mess and it's normal and it's a long hang fruit. It's very easy to do it. On the other hand, is like okay, let me keep this scanning on the SaaS, for example. Let me introduce this continuous scan to make sure that I will not release any more problems or deliver any more problems to my customers, users, whatever. And this is one approach. And now I want a question to Benyor. Like Benyor, Chris just mentioned that okay, I would come to a place and make kind of an assessment of the developers to know if I have a high security knowledgeable developers or low, something like this, which is more or less this approach from this Microsoft SDL process that they framework like they describe as first step is like training, yeah. And my question is, how was in your company now that you have this level of develop high level of develop when you arrived there? It was high level. You needed to do training. It was low level. How it was? If you can share, of course.
For sure, for sure. Here, when I joined the company, we are have very mature in this process because we already have more than 500 persons in security, more than 100 AppSec specialists here. So more than 15,000 developers. So it requires to be a mature process for that. Focus first dependencies. And why? Because 8% of our software are dependencies or third-party software. And that's a risk that will be across the entire fucking applications. So we
That's
will
true.
not develop all the things from scratch. So dependencies first. Totally agree with Chris because it's a low-hanging fruit. Okay, if we go very, very simple with this topic, is to make a check for each dependency we have that if it has a vulnerability discovered or not. So, and make an update. Appears to be simple to track if we are vulnerable, but the process to upgrade those dependencies in a large scale, it could be a challenge. So, and another way, that's a topic that to discuss a little bit after in this conversation. Another topic is about training. And why training? Because we do not have much blockers to train our developers. So, for example, if we know what languages we use, what frameworks we use, what are our development process, so know these kind of things for an AppSec specialist on an AppSec area, it's crucial. Then we can think about what we want to prevent. And training, it's extremely good from in my point of view for spread the word of secure defaults. For example, if we have a default right now for take care about secrets, which vault we need to use, what we should do about secrets in general, what's the process, we could use documentation and training to spread this word. So I agree totally with these two things. Dependencies because it's 8% of our software, and education because no such requirements to create that and spread across the entire company.
That's cool. That's cool. I totally agree as well. And I would put a bit of more pepper on this topic. Let's say to make it more hot. I believe that the companies they should look to themselves and say like, okay, what is my business risk? Oh, I am an e-commerce. I'm a critical infrastructure provider. I am an autonomous car software, whatever. So sometimes they think only on their own business impact and their own pockets, and it's okay, no problem with that. The thing is, they forget actually what are their impact on the society. Because
Right.
because when I'm a bank, it's not only I will lose money, my employees, whatever, but I also make an impact on the society. People will not be able to take their money if I have a breakdown. People will not be able to pay something. Yeah,
He's crashing their cars.
Oh,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So I think companies they to trigger this. Okay, where do I start, or how much security I need, like SaaS, SCA, trainings, everything, or stock. Like they should think, okay, if I stop my business right now, or if I have a security breach, what happens? What is the impact on the society, considering the services that I provide, the software that I provide, or something like this. And given this pepper to the topic, I would say this to make it more hot. What do you think, Chris? That should be also part of this mentality of these companies. Like they should start this mindset with training, as putting a link what Benur just said, together with culture, because culture
Mhm.
is also a very hard thing to introduce or to change. Like Benur said, his company was already mature, a lot of people, it was easy, I would say, to introduce AppSec and this kind of things. In other companies, like it's harder, right? You need to knock and try to bring the idea of security in there. No. So what do you see on this, with this perspective? Yeah, how do you?
I mean, you're bringing up great points. I mean, the reality is that relationship between the development team and the security team is absolutely critical. One of the things that I've done frequently when I'm at trade shows, when I'm at conferences, when I'm speaking to people on LinkedIn, I always talk about APIs, because everybody's, oh, I need this API tool. I need this API tool. And my question to them is, are you a multi-tenant system? And when they come back and they say, yeah, we're multi-tenant, kind of like a bank, or kind of like, most websites are, where multiple people can log in. The developers are only focused on trying to get their task done. They're not focused on, can I take data from, if I log in and I pull, I have a great JWT token where I can pull in, I can log in, authenticate, I'm in, but they're not tying down the data to the actual user or company or group. And so what happens is you have somebody that can come in, they can pull data from anybody, and they're not even looking at role-based authentication. So all of a sudden now I can sit there and I can pull everybody's data. I can do a lot of things. And I actually did this at a trade show. I had a guy come up to the booth and ask me, he goes, hey, why would I need you guys? And I explained what we do and, the tooling that we have. And I asked him, what do you think? And he goes, I write great, clean code. It doesn't matter. I write stuff. And I said, well, let me come over. And I had Burp Suite on my laptop, and I, right in front of him, showed him why he needs security. I said, really, for the most part, you just need the API guy that's, 4 booths down on the left. And the look on his face was just priceless. Right in front of him, I created these accounts and boom, took the data. The other thing you were mentioning too is, the training and working with your developers and getting them to understand the whole purpose, right? Out of the 35 years of development, I'd say at least 25 were in healthcare. And when you look at what happened with Change Healthcare, and when you look at the different data that's being stolen, the value of data. I was just speaking to somebody yesterday about this, and they asked me, why is this data so important? Why is healthcare data so important? And the reality is, it's worth a lot, because if your developers understand the value of what you're working on, if it's healthcare, just say, look, what if it was your mom's data? What if it were your family's data? Bring it, kind of make it personalized, and help them understand that, look, healthcare data is extremely valuable, because if I know your medications, your diagnosis, your allergies, all your notes, all your details, guess what? I can sell that to doctors or companies or malicious actors who are sitting there, spamming these people. Hey, guess what? If you have this problem, which, they do, then all of a sudden you're going to really suck these people in. And having that background, you can mimic and say, hey, look, I'm part of this company here. And see, I have your notes and let me help you. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
for sure, Chris, because, for example, if my own company has all the information about my health conditions, could they take the decision to fire me or something like
Mhm.
that? And if it goes with other companies, in other companies has the decision, hey, we will not hire this guy. Look at this bunch of beneficiaries.
He's almost dying. Let's not take this risk.
Exactly. So it's on own data. this, Chris, it's a thing that's really, really important, and I saw that in the development field for some years. I have a developer background as well, and as a developer, much of the time, we are taking care about our code, our profession, our skills, but
Absolutely.
not the product, the risk, what we are building for the community. So that's mentality when we try to inject some security mindset.
Mhm.
It's hard to just make them understand this new kind of thing that I fucking really need to do, that is security, because much of the time I feel that, hey, this is another task that I need to do that I'm not paying for.
Right. Right.
Eh,
Well, exactly. Because I'm on a short time span. I've got 2 weeks. I've got to get this stuff out the door. Let's get it done. Who cares about security? Cut the corners. Get it out the door.
I'm not having paid for that. So,
Somebody
and
else's
then
problem.
Yeah,
let's come about security champions and gamification. Why not? No, because they need to feel that, okay, now I have a little bit more interest here because I'm probably will be paying for.
yeah.
So
We'll get
that's
something extra.
exactly something like that.
Well, and with the security champion program, I mean, you bring up a good point, because so many companies have failed at it that have tried. And there's a lot of companies that haven't even tried to do a security program. And when you look at the value a champion program brings you, you can pay these guys a little bit more, right? And a company, I had over 700 developers plus beneath me when I was running my program, and you're double that size. But think about it this way. If you had, I don't know, let's call it 15 to 30 champions, and you're just giving them $2 to $3, maybe $4,000 more benefit or bonus for being a champion. That's one FTE, right? That's only one person, but look at the spread. Look at the value you're bringing across the board. And I've had people tell me I'm nuts for paying a little extra for a security champion. But when you look at the value they bring, and the one, you pick the people who really want to do it and are excited about it, because, all of a sudden you're like, look, this is equivalent to your PlayStation 5 plus several games. I mean, they're excited, right? And they jump in and they do it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
This extra motivation is, I would say, unfortunately needed. Should be by default. Maybe I'm too optimistic, but maybe I'm wrong. But I have another point. Just
DevSecOps.
a small break from our voices. I have one point, which is I think Chris mentioned exactly this. Like, he was approaching a customer or something, and this guy, we have a clean code practicing best practice. Why I need security? Then he go with Burp Suite, got some data. Okay, that's why you need security. This is one approach when you show not even the risk, you're already showing the damage. Yeah, you're already showing the impacts, what things can happen. I would say it's the same as our lives. Yeah? People, why I should go to the gym? Why I should eat healthy? Why? And usually we don't ask ourselves those kind of questions until we get some diabetes, until when we get some liver problems, heart problems, and then we go to the doctor, and then this doctor, hey man, look, in 1 year you're gonna die if you keep this routine, if you keep this lifestyle. You need to change it right now. Stop drinking, go to the gym, whatever. Huh? But someone with authority told you the impact that it's your life. It's in the biggest risk in this case is you lose your life if you don't do this way. But for security, cybersecurity, nobody listened to us. We say, look, guys, if someone, do you have a SQL injection vulnerability in your code? If someone gets into it, it will take your whole database. It's okay. Like, why we don't have the same power? Chris, this is a question for you. Maybe you know the answer. Why we don't have the same power as doctors has? You got the analogy, right?
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because really, developers don't understand security and the impact. They just simply don't understand. I ran into this, and I've helped multiple companies over the years. And the reality is they just don't understand the impact. And one of the things that worked well for me, and this would be great for, think about this, right? If you're using Burp Suite or you're doing something and you want to show somebody the value and what's there, record it, screen record it, showing you actually doing the attack and getting the data. Because developers are very proud people. They have a lot of pride. They're like, I write good code. Just like the guy, right? I'm great at what I do. I'm the best. Their ego fills rooms.
Yeah.
And, the reality is I can't do any wrong. And so developers, when you start showing them and training them and getting them to understand what security does, then all of a sudden you start building a little bit more value in the security program where you do tell them, look, you've got this. They're going to start listening.
Especially because security is sometimes, or let's say application security, is more preventive than reactive, right? We are looking vulnerabilities before release. We are talking about threat modeling, security requirements. It's like everything on the left. Yeah, I don't like this term, shifting left. But yeah, it's like this. We are everywhere to prevent something. We are not a WAF or a firewall. Yeah, they might be part of our life, but we are preventing things. Yeah, so this cost also for the company. But how much cost is this to prevent something that might not even happen? And then, right, as you said, okay, show me the attack, show me the data. Now it can happen, and this is the impact. Right. Oh, okay, then I will react. Actually, yeah, it's still a reactive way.
Right? Can I add something?
Yeah.
So a lot of developers feel like the edge tools, the firewalls, the web application firewalls, all that stuff can protect you. They see it as the golden bullet, right?
Yeah.
And this magic can do everything, so I don't need to worry about it. And the visual that I always explain, think of Game of Thrones. Think of the battle scenes where they're all lined up, row after row after row, and there's that center column, and you have the castle in front, and everybody's behind, and you're viewing the castle. Your packets, your requests, your APIs, your web, your traffic, if it's valid, it's going to go right down the road and get to the castle. No problems. The edge is going to say you're good. The web application firewall, you're good. Everything's great. You get to the castle and now you create chaos. And that analogy, when you start explaining it to developers and you start showing them, all of a sudden they have that aha moment. Now that magic edge disappears and you can show, look, you can do SQL injection where all that you can bypass that stuff all day long. And with the invention of AI and with all the automation out there, guess what? It will do it for you.
It will be even easier. And just to mention some actually was a real test that I saw yesterday on Twitter, maybe someone with a video, and was a guy with the sign of stop, like holding the sign of stop, homemade, to the Tesla autonomous car. And the car was stopping in the middle of the road, but it was a fake sign, yeah? I mean, it was a real fake sign, let's say. So how to prevent this kind of situation? Some dumb, stupid guy will be there with a sign and make your car stop on the highway, for example. How to prevent this kind of things. But, I mean, challenges of the new world. That's the real thing. Benhur, do you have idea? Not idea, but we mentioned training and this kind of culture, how to change the mindset and so on. Did you have some I don't know another better word, but let's use this one. Did you have some conflicts with development teams regarding this, what Chris mentioned? Like, they have big ego. I was developer as well. I had big ego. Now I'm in security. My ego is bigger because I know both. I know security and code.
It's a common side effect. So, security, and now I know how the things work, and now I will break the thing, so my ego is 10,000.
Even worse, I go back and break my own code in some companies just to say that they are not secure. No, just kidding.
Little guy travel in the time and kill this shit. Yeah.
Did you have some conflicts with development teams, like approaching with security and so on? Can you share this experience?
Honestly, I had a great relationship. Oh, did you want me or Ben?
Yeah, you can jump in and then Ben can explain as well.
Okay, sorry, Ben.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
You are the guest. You own the podcast now. Don't worry.
No. Honestly, I had a great relationship with my developers. Coming in from being an architect and knowing the lingo and knowing it, it really it goes so far. And the reality is, developers, when security throws all their crap over the fence, right? Hey, guess what? You have this number of vulnerabilities from this tool, blah. And the problem is, developers look at that and they go, "What the hell am I supposed to do with this?" And I have all this stuff that's coming over from security. It means nothing to me without context. And that's why, all the application security teams need to have a developer on there, because then you can take it, you can weed out the crap or weed out the low stuff that means nothing. If you have a command injection and you're writing a console or a application that runs from the command line or the terminal, it doesn't matter. You're already on the box. But if you're running it within a context of a web, it means everything. And one thing that I did to help companies, and I did for my own, because to help bring in security into the developers, I reached out and had started off as 20 and we ended up with 27. But I reached out to the software architects for the very large teams down to the small, the guys who were well respected within the organization. I said, let's put together a document that does two things. I want to know code writing, right? The term just basically the quality of code, right? You're going to write the code properly. This is how you're going to do it. Company wide. This is our company standard.
You mean code standards?
Yeah, code standards. Mm-hmm. Here's our company code standard, but then we're going to tack security into it. So when you're doing an API or a UI and you have a failed login, you don't just say invalid password. Guess what? Now I know the username's right. It's the invalid username or password. Make sure your return codes are valid and good, but also not giving the keys to the kingdom away. And so this API document we put together was 80 plus pages. And the beautiful thing about it was it's now a required thing. Having code quality and code standards there for the company now means that even the new guys walking in the door have to adhere to it. And you've also sprinkled in your pepper, your security into it, and now it's on fire. Now it's helping.
Ah, cool. Ben, you can talk now.
Yeah, exactly like Chris said. For me, we'll have a great, big, and impossible battle with developers if we put all the vulnerabilities in a single report, send to them, and fix that shit. So that's the way I haven't seen work for many years. And here we do not have this friction with developers, but why is the most important? First, every vulnerability will have a report, good. But how we send this report to the developer team? First, we explain to them the attack path, the risk. We will involve in a call, in a chat. We are leave. Let me present to you this vulnerability, because we do not have 1,000 vulnerabilities per month, for example, to make impossible to have a chat with them. So every vulnerability should be also a training. Because if we find a vulnerability, depends on the vulnerability, it's not a single vulnerability. It's a problem in the entire application security stack. Why SAST does not catch the vulnerability? If this vulnerability for the SQL injection, okay, let's say, it's our training program, why does it still happen? So why this vulnerability is still present in our code base? This is not another vulnerability report, another fix, and tomorrow another developer will put that again in the code. So vulnerability should be explained in a form that we can explain the vulnerability, explain the attack path, something like talk about security, but not using security word. For example, let me show you like a bug in the software.
Let me show how can you lose real quick.
Oh, if I test this API here, it works perfect. But if I put in this field here in the request, this kind of thing, what happened? And let them participate in to understand of the vulnerability. Oh, now what happened, bro? Let me just tell me what happened here. So, and then when we want to fix, have two ways. First, you need to fix in this way. End of this transmission. No, bro, how do you think we can fix this thing? Call the developers to participate in the solution because their ego are important. They build the software, they want to build the solution too. Because if we build something for you, okay, and another person came and just put a fix in your side, you feel bad because you are not now part of the solution for completely because you are not responsible, for example, for the fixes. You are not responsible to propose something that will be better. And sometimes that's really important. An application security specialist, application security engineer, does not have much experience and skills for development that a developer has. So probably sometimes your proposal for the fix is not the best as they can do. So get them into the conversation. Bro, we have a problem. It's not your problem. It's not my problem. I am here to help you about security. You are here to create software for the company, and we, both of us, have a security problem. Okay, we need to attack the problem. I'm not attacking you. And
It's not personal, right?
it's not personal. So how can we fix that
Together.
together?
I really agree with this. Disagreeing, because and it's the next question to Chris, and we drive to the end of the conversation. Unfortunately, times goes fast, but what do you think, Chris? I really agree with what Ben said, what you said, but there is one point, and I will bring analogy again. I go to the doctor, I'm fucked up. The doctor will say, "Look, man, you have diabetes. You're whatever, anything. You have everything. Yeah? You're gonna die if you don't fix all these problems. You need to go to the gym, stop, take this and that medication. You might need a surgery, and all that in the next 6 months, or is the end of your life. Okay, then you're gonna fix all these vulnerabilities, one or other first, some of the at the same time, but you're gonna fix it, right? You don't want to die. Then you go back to the doctor, you check, okay, you are on the good way. Let's keep this. Fine. Instead of dying in 1 year, you might have 5 more, 10 more, nobody knows. That's one approach. And as you said, we take a lot of vulnerabilities from SAST, SCA, threat modeling, threats, WAF alert, whatever. And then we throw all this to the developers. And as you said, developers will say, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? And that's one thing. It's obvious that they need to fix, but exactly, they need the context and so on. But my approach is, why or what if we, instead of talking to the developers, and this conversation still must happen because we need to help them to fix, as Ben said, find the solution with 4 hands. Yeah? But it's not their decision to fix or not. It's business decision. So we should go to the C-level. Who the hell has the kingdom papers instead of the kingdom keys? And man, we are fucked if you don't do this. Yeah, it's like the doctor. Sometimes the doctor will tell you, "Hey man, you have cancer." I don't care. Then the doctor will say, "Okay, call your wife. I'll talk to your wife. Then she will help me fix you." Yeah, because she's the boss. Yeah. So
yes.
What do you think? We should stop between codes talking to the developers as AppSec guys on these driving decisions, going to higher levels. And of course, that will come a technical part that we need to talk to them, help them fix the vulnerability. Why? Maybe show the attack happening. That's fair. But the decision of fixing is not their decision. I mean, what do you think?
So actually, you're right. And so honestly, I'll say it again, just because you probably don't hear it enough. You're right. The reality is the C-suite, all those guys need to be involved. And so a good application program is also putting together monthly stats and sending them up to the executive level. Because the reality is when the executives understand what the risk of the company is, that helps you buy into what's going on. If that risk is going up, the executives are going to be like, wait, why are our vulnerabilities like the stock market going up and up and up and then crash? So the reality is, on a month-to-month basis, put together a report, let the guys know, and explain the risk. Your CISO, if you have a CISO, they can go to jail if they don't address the risks. And from a company standpoint, the board of directors, if they don't understand the risk, you've got bigger problems. And when you are in an environment where you've got the buy-in from the executives, then it grows. I'm going to throw one more thing in here real quick. I always did a developer week every summer for all of the company. And the first day I brought in the directors, the management, and invited even the CEO all the way, top down. And I explained, here's what we do in our application program. Here's the value it brings. And here's what we're doing. I need you to make sure that your guys have the buy-in. And then the next 4 days, and this is just over lunch, about a 2.5 hour window every day. And then over the next 4 days, I spent the next day with the managers, are the guys running the tools who are going to be kind of your administrators, super users, and explain it. Then I bring developers in. And when you show them the full transparency of what you're doing and why we're doing it, it drives home everything. And you can be a little nasty if you wish, which I kind of did. I wrote my own endpoints from the source code management tools. I had it receive in my own API endpoint, secure, which is great. And I would actually kick off scans and things that happened. So everything was being looked at. With that information I saved in the database, I would send an email to the developer with every commit what was found. And at the end of every week, I would send out to the entire team. Anybody that committed to that repo in 4 weeks got this email that showed the overall vulnerabilities across the board. And the value that it brought was, crap, that's my work and I'm on this list. And now I'm looking dirty to my team. It's a little dirty, but it works very well. You're not shaming the guy, but you're saying, look, clean your stuff up, do better. And when you do better, you're going to be better.
Yeah, I'm kind of, sometimes I'm, how to say, not so much flexible with some things. Maybe I should be, I don't know, I was developer, so, and now I think we have too much flexibility when it comes to security. Like in Brazil, for example, in the past you could drink, I don't know, some percentage of alcohol and drive. Now it's zero. Because it was too many accidents, people dying, every season, holidays, whatever. So now it's zero. If you got drinking, if you got with alcohol, you lose your driver license, you go to the jail. That's all. I mean, you pay something, fine something, and then you go out. But it's more heavy penalty. So when it comes to application security and software that are controlling our lives, on our cars, our payments, and so on, I'm still not like, we should not be much flexible. I agree with what you said, but I mean this flexibility in case of, we fix this one day, this is not priority now, but definitely the board, the executives, they must buy in, otherwise it will not happen.
Well, I have a simple answer there. You tie their bonus to the vulnerability.
You said, I think
all your VPs, all your development managers, if you're going the wrong direction, guess what? You don't get your bonus.
Pockets, the famous pocket pain, right?
Yes.
I think, Bayer, if you could share, I think you have some situation like this, right? The KPIs or SLAs or something attached to the bonus, right?
For all those things, we have some metrics for threat models and threat findings. All threat models have a list of actions that require for the team. And what we need for that is some documentation on some proposal. How do you fix this threat scenario? Okay? And that's good. That has SLA also. For vulnerabilities, it's a little bit more hard. We have a vulnerability SLA structure that has impacted the entire company. The has vulnerabilities is not part of this stat in so hard way because first SQL injection we need to catch it at a nível SAST, like in the SAST level, because if we are not catching them, who's the fault? Is the developer that put? Is the education that the training is not going
So
for as
missing.
well? It's the SaaS team who's the fault. So for vulnerabilities, not so much hard, but for the SLA, yes, because once it's reported, once it's explained, once it's okay, because the communication channel is already established and clear and direct, and communication, the developer communication, it's always a priority. If you have a bunch of things to do in as an application security engineer, if a developer has request a help to fix some vulnerability, this should be a priority. So yeah, we are already in a risk. This SLA has impact. So
Cool.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Chris, one more thing. We have more like maybe 3-4 minutes. How Mend as a security vendor, let's say, how they help us in general. I know about SaaS, SCA, and these things, but how do you see the product itself on this whole chain that we discussed that could facilitate our lives? Let's say.
Well, thank you for asking. So, Mend in general, think about it. We can go far. I hate to use the word left. It's not shifting left, but we can go all the way down to the developer desktop, all the way up to your pipeline in your production. So we have the ability to see everything side to side. And really, we have tools like Renovate that, people, it's not a security tool. It's actually a code quality tool. It's free, 1.4 billion downloads in GitHub, and it will create pull requests to keep you current. If you have a finding, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to update. Guess what? Stay updated. And that will help take care of a vast majority. And with the SCA tool, knowing your indirect or your tertiary dependencies, knowing that I have something 4 or 5 levels down, not your primary direct dependency, but your indirect. Now I have that visibility into, hey, I've got a problem with this library that I'm using, and you can now start reaching out to the developers in the open source community and helping them. Containers, do I have a good container? Our company does a great job at our tools, but we also do an amazing job at explaining and helping others know what a good security program looks like. So it's not just a tool vendor, but we're actually helping them get and understand everything. And one of the things, and you can cut this out if you want, but on LinkedIn, I post 3 times a week all about application security. And I'm not specifically pointing out any vendor. I'm actually just raising the bar and the awareness for application security across the industry. People ask me, why am I doing it? It's because I care. And I'm very passionate about that, helping everybody and others.
Awesome, awesome. I would say that DevSecOps Podcast has a competitor, but actually, no. We are actually partners. Right? We're sharing content. We're sharing content because we care about softwares that cares about us. As you said, you were working in healthcare a long time, so we all need healthcare, either public, either private. But it's how it is. Huh? On the description of this video, I will share all the links that Chris provided me. Probably Mend, Renovate, his LinkedIn as well will be everything on the description of this video on the YouTube channel. Of course, from the how to say, I missed the name, from Deezer, from Amazon Music, from Spotify. You cannot download links, so go to the YouTube. It will be easier to catch all this information there, right? So, any last message, any kisses and any goodbyes that you want to say, Chris, Bain? We are about to finish.
I'm going to just share what I always do on my LinkedIn. Stay secure, my friends.
Awesome.
Chris, thank you for your time. Thank you for support here. I think the industry right now is probably outdated about security, and they need They need professional, they need people to help them securely. So the industry is bigger than our skills in AppSec security provided and available in the world. So thank you for your support for the community. And if you guys do not use Renovate Bot, for example, related to dependencies, you are missing a so fucking awesome code. And thank you for all your support for the community and the field of application security. Thank you.
Cool. Again, Chris, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for creating and sharing content as well. I think it's a lot of big value that people must definitely start reading, start consuming even more. And I think that's it. We see everybody on the next episode. This was episode 151 or 52, if I'm not mistaken. I believe 52. That's it. So I'm Cássio Pereira.
I am Ben-Hur.
And I'm Chris.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. See you in the next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was DevSecOps, your cybersecurity in technology podcast. DevSecOps, finishing now.